It is, of course, tradition for me to bash an independent British comedy with Simon Pegg while we're doing Wittertainment together. So let's now get on to that. Now, Absolutely Anything has two things in its favour. The first thing is that it's coming out in the same week as Pixels, so it's always going to look, it's never going to be the worst film out in the week. The second thing is that the central role in it, and this is, I think, has been a sticking point with all of these small comedies that Simon Pegg has done, is that the roles don't suit his performance style at all. And in this, it really plays to Pegg's strengths, because it's about this humble guy, a kind of beta male character, who is suddenly invested with alpha responsibilities and the alpha worries that come with it. It's a science fiction comedy. It's been directed and co-written by Terry Jones, one of the members of Monty Python, very much in the style of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Douglas Adams style sci-fi, in which a panel of supreme alien beings, who are all voiced by the surviving members of the Monty Python cast, decides to put Earth to the test by randomly granting a single Earthling the power to make, as the title says, absolutely anything happen. So he can wish for something, make a flick of his wrist, and the wish comes instantly true. And the idea is that, will he use his powers for good? Will he use his powers for bad? This will decide the fate of the Earth. And Pegg's character is this downtrodden school teacher and wannabe novelist who, of course, has no idea what to do with the powers at all. And here he is explaining to a colleague played by Sanjeev Bhaskar what's going on in his life.
Ray, earlier on we were talking about being able to do anything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, this is going to sound kind of stupid, but suddenly I can.
Can what?
Do anything. Just make things happen. Things that shouldn't happen, I just wave my hand and they do.
You feeling okay?
Yeah, just look. You, tell us who you were.
You'll never believe this, but I was a conjurer. I went by the name of the Great Alfredo.
Go and jump out the window.
Righto. What's this?
How did you do that?
I don't know.
I could swear it was the skeleton talking.
Yeah, it was.
Let me see you do another one.
What? I can't think of anything.
Oh, come on. How about some flowers?
Bunch of flowers in my hand. It's pathetic. How about room be covered in flowers?
So, this film has the comedic potential for absolutely anything to happen, as the title says. And the problem with it is it just clams up under the pressure. There is one joke that's repeated over and over again in this film, which is that because of some ambiguity in the wording of the wish, things go wrong and they end up worse than before. Now, of course, the problem with this is in real life, you would just try again. For example, one of the things that Pegg's character wishes for is no one has a reason to start a war. And what happens is countries start starting wars with each other for no reason.
Yeah.
Now, if this was actually happening, you would just say, okay, let's try the wish again. No wars. But because the film needs things to keep going wrong, it just doesn't do that. So the problem is with the fact that it can't advance itself beyond this one joke is that you can notice all the plot holes just start to open up and start whistling. So that's ultimately the big issue. The other thing is that wish fulfillment comedies about romantically unsuccessful men, this tends to be a real minefield. I don't want to keep going on about Adam Sandler's film The Cobbler. I want to move on, put that in the past. But obviously that was vaguely similar premise. And something that he used his magical shape-changing powers to do was to seduce other women, which under false pretenses, which is, goodness knows, it chimes with the premise, but it's completely icky and it's disgusting to see on screen. This film could have gone much more horribly down this route than it actually does. Pegg's character has this crush on his pretty and atrociously written next-door neighbour, played by Kate Beckinsale. But the way in which that crush is handled is nowhere near as icky as it might be. I appreciate, I'm sort of defending this film, praising with faint damns, really. It's not as bad as it could have been, but it is a kind of a salvage operation. Also, there's Robin Williams, who gives voice to Simon Pegg's character's pet dog, Dennis. It's actually the last performance that Robin Williams recorded. It's not particularly representative of his best work, although it is, in the great scheme of things, it's a relative light in what's going on.
Eddie Izzard.
Eddie Izzard is good. And the thing is, Eddie Izzard is another person who's cast well in terms of the film's Python-esque qualities. Terry Jones obviously has written many, many comedy sketches and directed previous Python films as well. And there are these moments as Eddie Izzard plays this horrible headmaster who suddenly turns nice whenever Pegg's character is around. And that works well. And then you've got Sanjeev Bhaskar as well, who we heard on the clip. He wishes via Pegg to be worshipped by a gym teacher, and this turns him into this kind of godlike figure who's wandering around fending off a cult. And that is incredibly like a discarded Flying Circus sketch, even down to this cataclysmically downbeat way in which the sketch finishes, it feels very Python-esque. So there are these little highlights throughout it. But really, I can't see this being of interest to anyone other than hardcore Monty Python fans who want to see what Terry Jones did next. But it didn't make me want to run out of the room. You know, it wasn't offensive. It wasn't disgusting. It wasn't particularly revolting. It just didn't kind of get beyond that initial problem of what can we do with this beyond wishes going wrong.